The WWE is now opening up a transfer window, and though we really have no idea what that is going to entail, we do know that superstars are all going to be moving around each brand of Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and even NXT. With Raw inevitably moving over to Netflix and with SmackDown possibly getting a third hour added to its show over on the USA Network, and with the CW deal for NXT, we knew that at some point that we were going to be seeing some superstars change their brands and ultimately having superstars be on certain shows because of these type of deals. And WWE needs some sort of excuse for it. So they created this transfer window. And I think it's a great idea, mainly because of the fact that you're going to be able to see fresh new faces on these shows each and every single week, and you're going to be able to see fresh new feuds for these shows each and every single week. And what I ultimately really do compare this to is what the Superstar shakeup was back in the day. We saw some superstars switch brands, and ultimately it did freshen up the rosters each and every single time the WWE had one. So I'm very much excited to see what this transfer window can be for WWE. And I wanted to see what you guys thought about this whole entire situation. So I asked you guys over on Twitter, who would you like to see move over to each brand if you had to? And we're just going to be talking about these sort of superstars and if they could switch over to whatever brand you want them to switch over to. So let's get right into it. Before we do, make sure you guys hit that like button, turn on the bell for all notifications, and subscribe to the channel. That way you guys never miss another upload right here on the YouTube channel. Let's get right into what your thoughts are for this WWE transfer window. My guy Chris is saying move Ilya Dragunov back to NXT, have Johnny Gargano and Randy Orton move over to Monday Night Raw, and then you will have Seth Rollins move over to Friday Night SmackDown. Now, first of all, I like to say that I like how you use big names when it comes down to this transfer window, mainly because I don't think that it's just going to be some mid-carders moving over to each show just to freshen things up. I do think we are going to be seeing some big names added on to this transfer window, and we are going to be seeing some major moves for each show as we continue to see what this transfer window could be entailing for all three brands. Ilya Dragunov back to NXT is an interesting move because we all know that Ilya Dragunov back in NXT was absolutely phenomenal. But with him being injured, I don't know if he'll even be eligible enough to be a part of this transfer window. Johnny Gargano and Randy Orton to Monday Night Raw is a very interesting aspect. But when it also comes down to Johnny Gargano being this whole DIY situation with Tommaso Ciampa, I don't know if we would ever be splitting up tag teams. If anything, I would see tag teams move over together to whatever show that the transfer window is going to be allowing them to go to. Randy Orton to Monday Night Raw, I absolutely love that. You know, Randy Orton is just a tailor-made main event superstar, and he would add some credibility to any main event type situation that you got going on for whatever brand. So that would be kind of cool to see. And Seth Rollins moving over to Friday Night SmackDown. I have honestly been trying to see if we could even see a move over to another brand for Seth Rollins because it would give him a fresh new start, and I absolutely would love to see that for him. But he could be a mainstay on Monday Night Raw for years to come, so we'll see where that goes. Tanya is saying to have Roxanne Perez move over to Monday Night Raw, have Kiana James move back down to NXT because they called her up a little bit too soon, and I do agree with that, but more on that in a little bit, and have Drew McIntyre go over to Friday Night SmackDown. Now, speaking on Kiana James back to NXT for just a quick little bit, I do 100% agree with you there. I think that Kiana James is a great talent. I think Kiana James really does have potential to be a great women's superstar within the WWE main roster one day. I do just believe, just like you said in this tweet, that they did call her up a little bit too soon because we really haven't seen her in months. And even if she is injured, we really probably would have liked to hear at least some sort of update on this whole situation. But Kiana James back to NXT would be a good move for me in terms of that regard. Now, your pick of Roxanne Perez moving over to Monday Night Raw, I am 100% in agreement with you. I just want to see her on the main roster because she has been ready for that main roster for years at this point. Honestly, at least a year. I'll say for at least a year now. And, it's just time. It's just time for her to lose that NXT championship and be a part of the Monday Night Raw roster or the Friday Night SmackDown roster, whichever one, so that she can evolve and progress on the WWE main roster. And she's just an absolutely amazing talent. So seeing her on the main roster is easily the right way to go about it now, because she's just kind of overgrown NXT at this point. And Drew McIntyre moving over to Friday Night SmackDown makes 100% sense. You know, when it comes down to the feud that Drew McIntyre had with CM Punk, I was even really trying to figure out, how are these two even going to be able to coexist on the same brand with each other, seeing each other backstage in the locker room after every single time that they have, gone to hell with each other and back? Why would you even want to be a part of the same locker room as that guy after everything that you guys have been through? So seeing Drew McIntyre move over to Friday Night SmackDown to just distance himself from any type of feud that he had over the course of this year in 2024 on Monday Night Raw would be a really cool way to just see some fresh new faces go after Drew McIntyre, and it would just be a great fresh start for him. So I agree with every single pick here that you said for the transfer window. So great job. Tommy says to move Obafemi over to Monday Night Raw, Drew McIntyre to Friday Night SmackDown, and you want to have Tyler Bate move back down to NXT. See, there we go. We have Drew McIntyre over on Friday Night SmackDown again, and like I said, when it comes down to Tanya's tweet, Friday Night SmackDown would just be a really good way to get Drew McIntyre a fresh start. So that right there is automatically set in stone. The former NXT North American champion in Obafemi to Monday Night Raw would be very interesting, but after this, we just saw NXT Deadline, and this was recorded after NXT Deadline took place. We now know that he is now the number one contender for the NXT Championship after winning the Iron Survivor Challenge. So, I think he's going to be staying down in NXT for just a little bit while longer, and ultimately, he's got all the time in the world to get to the main roster. So I don't know if that would be a move, but I do understand it because Obafemi is just fantastic in every single way. And, when it comes down to Tyler Bate moving over to NXT, I do agree with you there. I ultimately would kind of like that as well, mainly because Tyler Bate's a great talent. We all know that he is. But right now, what is he going to be doing on Friday Night SmackDown? Not much. So you can have him move over to NXT, and you can have him do some great feuds for the North American Championship, maybe even do something with the NXT title. Who knows? But Tyler Bate to NXT would honestly be a really cool move to see. Master DJ says to have Cody Rhodes, Gunther, and Roxanne Perez move within this transfer window, and I 100% agree with every single one of these picks. It's interesting that you chose both the world champions when it comes down to Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, because I do agree in every single sense of the words that when it comes down to this transfer window, I think this is just an easy way to have the world champions of each show move over to the other side, meaning that Cody Rhodes, who is the undisputed WWE champion from Friday Night SmackDown, would move over to Monday Night Raw and have Gunther move over to Friday Night SmackDown without really any hesitation, and it would honestly just make a lot of sense because the transfer window is for this specific reason. And Roxanne Perez just going over to the main roster in any way, shape, or form, I've already spoken about it. I've just been wanting to see it for a while now, and that is 100% should be a huge standing point for NXT to have somebody get called up like a Roxanne Perez to the main roster. Now, you didn't mention one from the main roster going back down to NXT, and that is perfectly okay. But ultimately, Cody Rhodes going over to Monday Night Raw, Netflix wants him, so why not make that move? You have Gunther go over to Friday Night SmackDown because you kind of need a world championship over on Friday Night SmackDown for the people to fight for as well, and that just makes a ton of sense. And then Roxanne Perez getting over to the main roster 100% makes sense as well. So this is just great stuff there, and I agree with every single one of them. Now, those were all the submissions that I got when it comes down to this particular video, but I do want to talk about some certain superstars that I would personally like to see when it comes down to this transfer window of having superstars move over to Friday Night SmackDown, Monday Night Raw, and even NXT. So let's get right into my picks. One group of superstars that I would personally love to see move over to Friday Night SmackDown would be American-made. Chad Gable, Ivy Nile, and the Creed brothers moving over to Friday Night SmackDown would be an absolute steal for the SmackDown Tag Team division, because when it comes down to what the American-made stable has been doing over on Monday Night Raw, ever since really the whole situation happened with the Wyatt Six, let's just face it, they've been losing a lot. And moving them over to Friday Night SmackDown would not only give them a lot more, time to, to show what they are made of. You can have Chad Gable go after the United States Championship. I mean, it just makes sense to do that. And ultimately, it would just give a fresh new tag team like the Creed brothers a fresh new start for Friday Night SmackDown, and it would just add a great tag team to that already cool looking tag team division. So, and also you have Ivy Nile, who can be put in spots in any way that you want her to, and she would succeed in every single way imaginable. So, I do think that American Made moving over to Friday Night SmackDown would be the right move, and we already saw something of that this past Friday on SmackDown when we saw Chad Gable take on the undisputed WWE champion in Cody Rhodes, and he looked phenomenal in that matchup. So moving American Made over to Friday Night SmackDown would be the move that I would personally love to see. Now, if I'm moving a 4-person stable over to Friday Night SmackDown in American Made, I would personally just love to see another 4-person stable move over to the Monday Night Raw brand. And guys, I'm doing it. I'm moving the Bloodline to Monday Night Raw. You think about it. When it comes down to Raw being on Netflix, you know damn well that many people would just love to see a Roman Reigns over on Netflix for Monday Night Raw. That platform is absolutely huge. We all know that. We all know that the Bloodline story is an absolutely huge part of WWE right now. And, when it comes down to it, Roman Reigns on Netflix just makes a whole lot of sense. You can have whatever type of bloodline you want it to be. You can have it be the OG bloodline. You can have it be the new bloodline. In whatever type of way you want the bloodline to be over on Monday Night Raw, you just make that move. Because now you're going to be having one of the biggest, if not the biggest storyline for the WWE over the course of the last 4 to 5 years be on your flagship show over on Netflix, which is going to bring more exposure to that story and ultimately the WWE itself. It's a no-brainer for me. So I would love to see the Bloodline, aka really Roman Reigns, move over to Monday Night Raw. Now for NXT, it was a little bit more difficult for me to figure it out, but I would actually like to see somebody like maybe even Shayna Baszler move over to NXT and really try to revive her career just like a Baron Corbin did, and just like many other superstars that moved over from the main roster to NXT have tried to do, and they ultimately have done that. You take a look at what Baron Corbin did in NXT for the time that he was there within the company. He totally revived his career. And you can even look at somebody like even a Ridge Holland, who, though many people do not like him, Ridge Holland, from what he was doing in the Brawling Brutes, has done tremendous work since going back over to NXT. So seeing somebody like Shayna Baszler, who really is not doing much over on the main roster side of things, along with, Zoe Stark and Sonya Deville, the fact that, we can see somebody like even a Shayna Baszler go over back down to NXT to revive her career would be an absolutely amazing way to get that Shayna Baszler that we all once knew and loved when she was in NXT Black and Gold back within the fold of WWE, and then when she could, be potentially back on the main roster as that killer that we used to know, then it would be a great way to really just get her back into the fold of WWE for the main roster. So I would personally love to see Shayna Baszler if that was a move that WWE would like to make. But that's all I got for you guys today. If you guys want to just leave some of your predictions for this WWE Transfer Window, leave them down in the comment section below, and I would really like to read them. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you guys hit that like button on your way out, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell for all notifications. That way you guys never miss another upload right here on the YouTube channel. I'll be back throughout the week, so stay tuned for much more videos to come, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, stay safe, God bless, and peace. Out for the